Hi everyone, how are you all doing? I hope everything is going well on your journeys. I just wanted to come on today and have a little chat about nutrition and diet. I've been receiving a lot of questions and it seems to keep coming up in my sessions with my clients. A lot of people are really looking at their diets very closely right now, and I think that the further we go through this ascension and awakening process, the more it makes sense for us to look at our human form and our bodies and what's going into it, and just getting our diets to match with the vibe that we are carrying. So, little history about myself is that, like many of you, I grew up with a difficult childhood. I had a single mother. She struggled financially. She struggled to even have much time with working to try to take care of us. So I grew up with a lot of convenience foods, or, I remember things like bologna and hot dogs and Kraft dinner and pierogies and I don't know, just stuff like that. And then later, we got into, the late 80s, early 90s, getting into microwavable food and pizza pops and all that kind of fun stuff. So certain things, my mom did try her best, but in certain ways, I just feel like a lot of the food I grew up eating was quite nutritionally devoid, and I would say I was definitely into eating a lot of just carbohydrates and processed carbohydrate foods. I did know from a young age, though, that I was quite sensitive to food. I could recognize that. And I do feel that around 12 years old, I started to become very conscientious and knew that I wanted to be a healthy person. I didn't know how or what that meant, but I remember I had a friend who was vegetarian and wanting to be a vegetarian. As it would happen, I felt like vegetarian found me more than I really found it. My mom bought me a book, and she bought it off someone on the street, and she didn't realize that it was a Hare Krishna book, and it said all this terrible stuff about meat when she brought it home to me, and I read it at about 13 years old. And without even really being able to make a decision, I just couldn't eat meat. It was in my mind. I was having thoughts about it, just thoughts about animals in general, and really waking up to the fact of what I was eating and thinking of things like, would I eat a dog or a cat or a crow or some dead animal I saw on the street? Then why am I eating these ones just because they're at the grocery store? And that was about as far as my awareness was, but I knew I couldn't eat meat. I was, however, still eating really unhealthy. And again, just eating to me at that time, health food was, bran muffins and spaghetti with a tomato sauce or something like that. So it's not like I was a picture of health, that's for sure. I ended up gaining weight through my teen years and struggling really badly with poor body image and going on diet after diet and yo-yo dieting and just really hating on myself and feeling sluggish and lethargic and just terrible in general. So the years went by, and as I began to awaken more and more, it felt like my diet would just slowly adjust over the years. I was definitely always a bit of an emotional eater. I didn't really ever have many vices. I've never been an addictive person to, I didn't smoke or drink much alcohol or things like that. So it felt like food was my only comfort at times, my only escape. I loved sweets and, again, heavy carb-filled foods that would make me feel this sort of satiation that I just wasn't finding on my own. So years went on. I ended up, having my son when I was pregnant. I ate meat again. I always just listened to my body at that time. I think I was just malnourished or something. So I just felt like I needed to eat meat. I would crave it when I would see it. So I just started eating meat again. After I had my son, I ended up going pescatarian. So I still ate fish and seafood. I still ate eggs. I ended up going for muscle testing because I was having really bad stomach problems for years. I believe I had IBS, but I just wanted to go natural route to heal it. So I went to a lady that did muscle testing, and we took coffee out of my diet. She did want me to take alcohol out, which I just had minimally anyways. I took out wheat and dairy. Once I took those things out, I did feel a lot better, and slowly over time, my stomach was healing. I wasn't having constant pain in my stomach. And even when I would sort of try to go off of that way of eating, maybe I'd have a coffee and a muffin on a job or something like that, I would just feel it right away. I'd feel like crap again. So it was showing me that it wasn't just hocus pocus, it was for real. When I met my twin flame, the funny thing was I was almost embarrassed to tell him or anybody the way I ate back then. I felt self-conscious of it, to be honest with you. I sort of said it like in an apologetic way, like, oh, I'm a pescatarian, which means I only eat fish and seafood. I don't eat any meat. I don't eat dairy, and I don't eat wheat or gluten. Most people would look at me very judgy and sort of snicker at me, or, just try to put me down in a weird way because I was eating differently, or they thought I was just going with fads or trying to be cool or something like that. But my twin was actually the first to say to me, wow, like, good for you for eating what makes you feel good. And I remember realizing how much I wasn't in my power when it came to what I was eating. So from the time I met my twin, my awakening and ascension process just skyrocketed. As many of you have had, my whole world turned upside down and everything was changing through my process. There's other videos where I talk about, I ended up doing ayahuasca and things like that. And when I got into that community of people that did ayahuasca and all this, I could see a sort of similarity in a way that different people in the process were eating. The shaman that I would go to and ended up becoming friends with ate such a clean diet that I think I actually judged him. Like, how can you even survive off of just eating that? Like, I was so baffled by it. Because sometimes what we don't understand, it scares us, so we almost want to judge it or something. So he would pretty much just eat tons of organic fruits and vegetables, clean sort of unprocessed nuts and things like that. And I was just like, wow, like it just seemed so boring or something, or so scary to me. I'm like, no fun food. He wouldn't have anything processed, anything from a can or a package, or no processed sugars, or I don't know. It was just a very, very clean way of eating. But as time went on, he would talk to me and say, Talisha, like, you have to realize that the more your vibration changes, the more you'll want to eat higher vibrational foods. And I was just like, okay. And I would feel a pressure from him, but as much as even if I wanted to, I just was not ready for that at all. More time went on, and one day I was meditating and I ended up getting a message about the animal products that were still in my diet and just the suffering that animals are going through, and that pain and those emotions and stress are in their bodies, as well as like hormones and things they're injected with, and just how terrible that whole industry is, and that I didn't want to be a part of that or support it, and B, I didn't want those energies coming into my body. I felt like my energies had become so open and sensitive through all the cleansing and purging that I had done that I really needed to look at cleaning up my diet even more. So the main thing I had left to take out at that point were eggs. And again, I just still wasn't feeling a good energy from them. Maybe if I lived on a farm and took good care of the chickens, I'd be into it. But I just wanted to take them out of my diet completely. So I don't want to judge anybody that does eat meat, but just go with what you feel and what works well for your body. Maybe look into getting your meat from better sources, maybe local hunters, or just meat that is ethically produced, just so that you make sure you protect your energetic vibration. So the more that I've cleaned up my diet and gone along, the more I've become aware of the ways that I've ate and the ways that I've used food as a comfort. It felt to me that when I was purging and going through, really dark energies or things like that, it felt like I would want to eat so poorly. And I've told some of my clients that it's like a snowball effect. You feel like crap, so then you reach to eat some crap, but then you feel even worse, and it's like a cycle that you can really get stuck in. So some of my clients have needed to sort of reset to get out of that, and I've had to do the same. I find that a good way to start is to even just focus on one little goal. Or if you want to go big, you can even focus on trying a cleanse. Like I've tried a juice cleanse before, and it wasn't like a weight loss thing. I don't even think I lost weight doing it, to be honest with you. But it just helped reset my whole system. Or recently, I made it a goal to just have a smoothie every morning if I can. I'll try my best to have a really green superfood kind of a smoothie and get that into my system and start your day off right with that. When it comes to things that I eat and how I've changed my diet, I'm definitely looking more towards more of the superfoods, trying to fill my diet with fruits and vegetables and healthy grains and legumes, and really trying to make other recipes of things I used to eat into versions that include things that I can eat right now. So for an example, a big hit with even all my friends is that I like to make cabbage rolls. I used to love cabbage rolls. Well, now I make them with just really creative fillings. I might crumble up tofu and put paprika, and then I put brown rice and all different veggies and butternut squash and sunflower seeds. Like, just think of texture, and mushrooms are amazing to put in so many things. I've definitely tried to increase my greens intake. That's really important. And try to increase my water intake, which I've bought a really good filter to make sure that the water I'm drinking is clean. And the one that I have, it does where it makes the water alkaline, so using that as well. I took the coffee out of my diet after I got a muscle test done that said I should. Coffee was really acidic and just not agreeing with me at all. It would make me feel dehydrated, lightheaded. By the end of the day, I would get blood sugar level spikes when I drink coffee. So instead, I've been having cacao, and cacao is really nice because it's a superfood. It's made from pure cocoa that's unrefined. It is also a very heart-opening drink or substance that you can take. It's rich in minerals like potassium, magnesium. It has iron. Really good way to start out your day is with a cup of cacao. Some people just drink it with hot water. I myself like to make a whole drink out of it with almond milk, hot water, little pinch of Himalayan salt, and I also like to add maca into it. Maca is a root vegetable that's an adaptogen. It really helps to balance you out hormonally, and you can look it up. It has all sorts of benefits for energy and vitality. It's another superfood. So trying to have that and just trying to listen to my body. I also really want to express that it's so important to try not to judge yourself or get down on yourself when you do eat maybe not the best foods, or you do indulge, or you go back into your old patterns or your own ways. This is a big undertaking, because just like we're shifting out of so many paradigms that we grew up around, we're shifting out of years and years and years worth of habits. I also feel that sometimes even from maybe past lives or genetic energies of, families that went through starvation or famine, or even people I know nowadays when they were children, there was no food in the house, or maybe their parents overfed them. There's so much that we're trying to break down and get through. So just try to be compassionate and understanding of yourself. Don't judge yourself. Just observe your process, and just keep trying to do better. Keep noticing when you feel better. What did you eat? Maybe keep a food journal if you don't get too obsessed over it. But just try to focus on which foods bring your energy levels up and make you feel good and nourished and whole. It's so important to just really be in tune with your bodies during this process. And also to even take the time to prepare the food for yourself, or the money to buy, maybe certain supplements or things that you wouldn't normally buy. I mean, we'll spend a lot of money on Starbucks coffee every day, or eating out, or even just on other frivolous things, maybe clothes or I don't know what, but food is so important. We only have this one body, and a lot of our diet that we've been eating for so many years, it's, ruining us, our whole food system. I watched that movie Food Inc. a long time ago, a documentary. I think it's on Netflix still. But it was just talking about the corporations taking over our food system and how it's affecting all of us. We need to get back in tune with Mother Nature and eating in a way that is also morally and ethically in line with what we feel. I know it's hard to be perfect. We don't, we can strive to be better and better, but it's hard to, have everything perfect, especially with the way things are this day and age. But every little bit that we do, it's like a droplet of water in a big pool, and we can make a difference with just the choices that we make and the choices that we make for ourselves. And the better that we eat, the better we feel, and the better we feel, the better we can go out into this world with a higher vibrational output and a better energetic output, and it will make a difference. It's like this trickling effect or a domino effect, and I see so many people making a difference with just their choices of what they choose to do. I do feel that we are here on this earth to be an example, and even if you're going through the twin flame connection, the more you lift your vibration, the more it will lift your twin's vibration. So even if your twin is over there eating McDonald's every day and drinking tons of alcohol and not caring for their body, the more you do care for your body, it's like that yin and yang. You are helping lift them up and helping bring it into balance. And it's by helping yourself. So it's not only to do it for the other, I think that in general, it's time for a lot of us and for humanity to just heal their relationship with food, go back to basics. It's my dream to one day have a garden and be able to grow my own food and prepare it. I just think a lot of what's happened is that our food has become so industrialized, and we just want to go back to basics and back to wholeness and nourishing ourselves, and looking at even different cultures and the way they nourish themselves, and enjoy cooking and enjoy taking care of your body. And also just going back to being in tune with your body. Like, are we really hungry, or are we eating food just like we're using any drug or substance to ease the pain? I've mentioned I love to go to yoga, I love going on my nature walks, I love doing art and creative things, reading, just other things that take you away from your stresses of life, so that you can become more balanced and find that happiness and wholeness from within, instead of just trying to satiate ourselves with bad food like any drug, especially sugar and salt and all these substances that we become actually really addicted to. And again, no judgment. These things take time and effort to get through, and even healing, even coming for a session with me to do healing, or any other healer, or getting a massage, or I don't know, going to a sound healing, or whatever works for you. Every time I did healings too, it felt like I was getting more and more in alignment with my true self and where I wanted to be. I'm still a work in progress. We all are. There's still more that I want to strive for. And like I said, being around a friend of mine, like my shaman friend who eats so clean, it shows me that I can keep striving to do better and better, and enjoy the process as I go along. Try not to make it a big chore, or, if you're feeling like, oh gosh, to eat like this is so terrible, then don't do it. Do what you're ready for at any given time. I will put some links to different places or blogs where I like to find recipes and inspiration. I also really like to watch Dr. Axe, who's on YouTube. I find him to have a lot of great information about diet and health and superfoods, etc. I've also really gotten a lot into gut health, and I will tell you, it is so important. It's so huge. Another time in another meditation, I received information about how important our gut health is. It's almost like what I saw was the energetic system, just like the chakras. We want to keep it all clean and flowing, and that's why the way we eat and our diet, it affects the flow of the energy. So if you think about, the Buddha or Jesus, they would eat very minimally, really. Sometimes like the Buddha would even just fast or not eat for a certain amount of times, and I know that's a big trend right now as well. But yeah, back to the gut health. I received information that keeping the gut clean and pure, keeping the balance of the good bacteria, it is so important in the information that I received. I started by just taking probiotics. That's an easy start. Then I got really into kombucha. I even made my own kombucha for a while. I do love sauerkraut and just fermented foods. Miso soup is really good for that. I also started taking something called inulin from chicory root, and this is actually a prebiotic, so it feeds the good bacteria in your stomach. Then just going through trying to avoid processed sugars and things like that, because that feeds the bad bacteria. Also alcohol. I went through long periods of just completely not drinking. Now I'll drink casually, maybe a glass of wine or two just here and there with a dinner or something like that, because what I saw was when you douse your system with a high amount of alcohol, it's killing off the good flora that is in your stomach, and it's feeding, sugars to the bad bacteria. So if you see that, it's like this little ecology that is within our body, so trying to help it to flourish in a healthy and good way. And again, staying hydrated, doing whatever works for you, whatever resonates. I just wanted to come on to share what's been working for me, what I've been preferring, and just what I've been experiencing through this whole Ascension process. And I just aim to keep eating lighter and lighter, more healthfully, less toxins, less additives, less colors, less fake, more real, more of what nature intended, more of what, native ancestors or, even people around the world today that are just in tune with nature and eating that natural, clean, healthy diet. So I wish you all the best. If anyone has questions, feel free to comment, or if you want to share about what's been working for you in your process, feel free to share in the comments. I'm sure everyone would love to know. And if anyone would like to book a session with me, I'm still doing them for $50 an hour. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying helping any of you that come to me and just working on a holistic approach to this entire process, going through, pulling cards for you, where you're at in your journey, where your twin flame is at, what's going to help you, where you're headed. I give my clients homework sometimes, or we do healings. Every session is always different, and it's divinely guided to suit what is needed at that time for that particular client. So if you have any questions about that as well, feel free to email me or comment below. Thank you all so much. Have a great day.